All right, here we are back with another video. And in this video, we're going to look at completing a function table from a graph. And you may remember function tables from 8th grade or even prior to 8th grade. One of the things I do need you to remember as far as the key idea is that if x and y is a point on a function, then y is the output when x is the input. And really that's all you need to remember. And the x comma y is also called an ordered pair. So let's go ahead and jump right in, shall we? So our first question says, use the graph of the function to complete the table. So the input, which we learned before, is our x value, and the output is the y value. So we're saying we have an input of 2 and an output of 1. So this is this ordered pair right here. This is 2, comma, 1. Then we have 4, 5. There's a point right here. So the question is, when x is 6, what is y? So we're going to follow 6 up, and we're going to say that 6 is our x and 9 is our y. So we would just put a 9 right here. Let's move on to our second problem here. Use the graph of g of x, which is another way to say y, to complete the table. So at -1, so x is -1, they're asking us what is y. Well, we can put a point there. It's +1. When x is 0, what is y? Well, y is 5. When x is 1, what is y? It's also 5. So we could write the ordered pairs this way. Now, IXL is not going to ask you to write the ordered pairs, but you may find it quite helpful to do so. All right, so that's 2 problems down and 2 more to go. Now, you might be like, oh my gosh, that looks really scary, Ms. Clark, but it's not. These are, you're going to see more functions like this. These are called wave functions or cosine, sine functions. And this is what we call a, I just lost the name of it that fast. It'll come back to me. So this function, we're asked, when x is -7, what is y? So when you see f of x, g of x, h of x, it's just another way of naming a function. So let's go over to -7. I just remembered the name of it. This is called a piecewise function. So I'm going to write that down so I don't forget. Piecewise. Okay, so back to this one. Sorry. X is -7. So we're going to come over here to -7. And we're going to find our y value, which happens to be 3. So this ordered pair would be -7, 3. So we're going to put 3 right here. And then we've got -5. When x is -5, what is y? So -5 is here. And y is +6. And then 2, they're giving us 2 and 7. So let's just check that. 2. And yes, sure enough, it's right across from 7. So 2, 7. So we've filled that one out. And finally, our piecewise function. Now this one, I really, really need you to pay attention to, because this is kind of like when we talked about inequalities, and we talked about open circles and closed circles. So when you see an open circle, what you need to understand is an open circle means that a value is not included. A closed circle means a value is included. So with that said, let's go ahead and look at this one. When x is 8, we want to know what g of x is, which again is another way of saying y. So let's go over to 8. and go up. So 8, and this is 3. So our y value is 3. Next, we have 9. When x is 9, then y is 4. And let's go ahead and check 10. When x is 10, y is 5. Yes, that's a true statement. Now, right here, suppose they said, what is the value of y when x is negative 6? Well, notice this is an open circle. So you would not say 3. You, in turn, would say, when x is negative 6, y is positive 6. So you're only picking the value where the circle is closed. So with that said, let's hop on over to IXL and do some here. So we're asked to use the graph of the function to complete the table. So we've got the input is 5, output is 7. Okay, the input is 6, the output is 4. We're asked when the input is 7, right here, what is the output? It is 1. Let's look at this again. So we have, again, a quadratic function. The shape itself is called a parabola. So when x is 3, y is 2. We see that. When x is 5, y is 6. We see that. When x is 8, y is 2. And you'll see that on quadratics and parabolas. Sometimes, or most times, you'll see a repeated y. So here we have another parabola or a quadratic function. And we're asked when x is 1, what is y? So we're going to go over here to 1. And y would be 7. And you can check the other points if you choose. Now, this is also a parabola. Notice the other one was facing down. That one is reflected. This is generally how quadratics face. They face up, meaning that their leading coefficient, and I'm front loading some information here, is positive. So, when x is 3, what is y? So we come over on our x-axis to 3, and we go up to our y-axis at 5. We have a reflected quadratic function or reflected parabola, meaning there is a negative in front of the leading coefficient. Use a graph f of x to complete the table. And again, f of x is just naming this function, because if we had several of quadratics on this same quadrant or this same coordinate plane, we would have to know which one is what. So f of x is just a naming convention, but it also means y. So let's look at this. Negative 7, we go up, it's 2. At negative 5, which is right here, our y value is at 8. Use a graph of g of x to complete the table. So when x is negative 4, y is 6. When x is negative 1, let's see, yes, y is 5. And when x is 5, which is clear over here, y is 2. We'll continue until we get to at least an 80. When x is negative 1, so we're going to come over here to negative 1, then the y value is 2, or the output is 2. When the input is 0, the output is also 2. And when x is 4, y is 2. Use a graph of g of x to complete the table. This is a polynomial function. So you'll learn a little bit more about that in Algebra 2, college algebra. So when x is -3, then our output is 2. When our input is 1, our output again is 2. Now this is a cubic function. You'll learn about that in Algebra 2. And we have when the input is -7, the output is +9. When the input is -6, the output is 5. Glad I caught that. And here we have -10 is our input. Our output is -8. We've already got 0 and -4. And our output when our input is 5 is +2. Use a graph of f of x to complete the table. -10 and 4, that's already there. When our input is -9, our output is 2. When our input is -6, our output is -4. I want to check that. -9, yes, +2. And here we have, use the graph g of x to complete the table. When x is -10, y is 6. When x is 1, y is 2. And of course, when x is 10, y is 0, because it's right here on the x-axis. So hopefully this video you find helpful, and stay tuned for more to come. Have a good one. Bye-bye.